This will be an attempt to draft the gasket from page 234, a handout that we've been doing in some classes. We're going to try to do it start to finish. You should be able to stop this video. It will not be perfectly aligned with what you have on campus because of the settings, but I will do my best to explain when the things are different. But it's very important to get everything set right and then to do File, New, right? So you have a template or a set of drawings that are looking the way they're supposed to. So you have to know to go to all kinds of different places here and grab the right drawings. For us, that's usually a decimal template. So if you start a drawing and you notice it looks something like that, not always exactly like that, you have the black space, which is the model, and the white space, which is the paper. So if you start a drawing and you forget to check where that your layers are there, you'll be a little bit, discombobulated when you try to do things in different layers. You notice here when you pull down, right-click on any toolbar, you bring up a set of toolbars, and we're talking about trying to keep the layers toolbar on, the modified toolbar on. We'll let that continue through here. And finally, the layer and the draw toolbar. So you right-click on any toolbar, bring up a set of toolbars, and you have all of these. I also then have the view toolbar, and if we remember, I'll leave that toolbar up here and let it kind of push up to the top. I will right-click here and show you that my mouse is not set up, so I'll be saying the commands that we would otherwise be picking off your mouse. Add a line, at loaf, line, offset, fillet, minus, array, polyline, edit, break, region, trim. We will fill out that mouse basically all the way so you have almost all of your commands there. That said, you want to first draft up this kind of a view box. I'm going to point out as I'm pulling up and down to this layer toolbar here, one of these layers, object, is turned off, that little on and off button there. So I'm going to turn that on and you'll see what comes up. I've got a box. Now that box might be the right size, it might not be, but I learned to left click on something and then either hit the delete key or the erase key or the erase button there. Any number of ways to do things, but I'm going to go ahead and try to hit the delete key and delete that out. Even though you can either draw a rectangle, I'm going to go through like I did it in class. I'm going to draw a line now on which layer. I'm going to click up here to the view layer and now go line. I'm going to click here. And because the ortho is on, if I move my mouse a little bit to the right and I type 10 and hit a return, I have a line here that is 10 long. Escape, 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 Z space, E space, and then wheel out a little bit or double click on the middle mouse. Whatever it needs to get you zoomed out. That's going to be an important skill, but not so much so until you get the box drafted. We're now going to O for offset. I do not have the dynamic on. I'll do one with the dynamic off. O for offset. My choices are either a distance or through. There's nothing to go through here, so I just go ahead and type in the distance of 10. Spacebar, left click on the line, and left click again in the general direction I want to go. I can now turn on the dynamic if I want, and remember that shift right click doesn't get me anywhere unless I'm in the middle of a command. So now I'm going to go line. I want to go to a particular place, so I do shift right click, endpoint. I go near the end of my line and left click, shift right click to the endpoint there, and I have now drafted a line from endpoint to endpoint. Again, learning to turn the dynamic on and off can either be more or less confusing depending on what you want to do. I'll go ahead and turn it on now and then say O for offset. Now I can either right click and see this set of options, or hit my bottom arrow and see these, or just type T for through. So I'm going to click T for through. And now it's asking me the object to offset. I'm going to left click there. And I want to go shift right click through the endpoint of that. I now have my box drafted, and you notice it is in four different pieces. I can do a double click in the middle mouse, escape, 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 Z space, E space, and I have this general sense. In this drawing, we wanted to set up a center line, keep it in the middle of the box, so once again, I'm going to turn my dynamic off. O spacebar for offset. Even though I know it's 5, it is more correct to go T for through. Select my object, shift right click through the midpoint of that. I can now again select an object, shift right click through the midpoint of that. This next step here, in terms of putting things on correct layers, you get used to left clicking and adding all you want to left click. Now the most transferable skill, the most durable, would be to right click, go to properties, and then realize here the property you want to change is not color, but you want to change the layer on which those lines are, and you're going to put the layer to center line. You now have your center lines drafted, but unfortunately those center lines, if you click on them, go all the way through. If you do not have your snaps on, it is quite easily to go BR for break, or right click break, select very approximately, break again, select very approximate, get close, and now you can go F for fillet. The radius is set to 0. You click on the two things you want to keep. You can do that again here. In all reality, on this piece, the left-right lines are not that important, but I'll leave them on for just a while, and now we can get to drafting the piece. You draft a box bigger than what you want to draft, establish strong base lines and base circles, and what we need to do here is we need to copy and rotate this line 80 degrees. This is going to be a little bit different from working with the draw commands. It is a modify command, so you select the thing first with a left click, then you left click over the spinny point, if you would, and you want to get used to then space barring through till you get to the command that you want. Again, you can right click, but you're going to rotate, C for copy, and you're going to turn it 80 degrees in a positive direction, and so you get that there. That establishes one of those lines, the 80 degrees off here to the left. And now you'll see that it might be a good idea to left click, and hit the delete key so you don't get confused with too many lines. You now need to left click this again, left click on that endpoint, spacebar, C for copy, and type in 60. If you had said that, it would be wrong. You want a minus 60. And so if you can't keep track of left and right rotations, just use your visual clues. I'll do it again. Left click on this one, left click on the end, spacebar, C for copy, 60 degrees. And it went the other way. So I can now just tell it minus 60, and I have that. Now, think about it. I now have two lines, a line upon a line right here, because I copied that back. And so I'm going to left click, and then I can use the erase button here and get rid of one of them, so one is still there. I now will establish the last center line before I take a break to the next one, and the last center line is that round center line. It is a radius of 2.25, and we want to remember that we go up to the ribbon, if you would. I'm going to bring the ribbon back here, back to the home here. I'm going to the ribbon. I'm going to pull to the center radius. I'm going to go shift right click for the intersection or the endpoint of that, and then type in 2.25. Now that again, you notice how it's drafting on the yellow because that was my current layer. I can now once again left click on that. I can right click out here, change the properties to the proper layer being this center line. Okay, we will stop that video here, and this will be one of two. We're mostly done. File, save as right here would be a great idea. Thanks for listening. Catch you in the next 10 minutes.